The Privy Council dismisses appeal by a former Grenada coup participant fighting to practice law in the Caribbean island. And in sport, a West Indies cricket legend stands behind Ricky Skerritt for the CWI presidency. I'm Ricardo Robertson. This is Caribbean in 10 for Monday, March 18, 2019. I'll be back with the details after the break.
University of Guyana on the question of the diaspora and the role. I presented a paper that has just been published by the University of Guyana. And I want to read just a sentence of the contribution that Guyanese abroad have been making. Remittances represent more than foreign direct investment and nearly as much as current official development assistance from all donor parties.
So I'm adding a little bit of salt, some basic Caribbean green seasoning. This is a really simple Caribbean seasoning blend. The pimento or seasoning peppers, hot peppers. To the pot now, I'm adding some curry powder, some turmeric, some roasted ground jeera, and some black amchar masala. And once it's ready, it'll look very grainy and dry, and you'll see the oil separating. So now is a good time to add your seasoned chicken in.
The Privy Council dismisses appeal by former Grenada coup participant fighting in the a former member of the People's Revolutionary Government in Grenada has lost his fight to practice law in the Caribbean island. Now, the London-based Privy Council today dismissed the appeal filed by Joseph Ewart Lane against an Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court of Appeal decision that upheld a High Court ruling that he not be admitted to the bar. By a split decision, the five-member panel of judges said that although Lane is now a man of good standing in the community, which is a requirement for admission to the bar, that, however, was not enough. The Privy Council, which is Grenada's highest and final court, said public confidence in the profession also has to be considered, and there was sufficient risk that it would be damaged by acceding to Lane's application. Now, Lane was one of 17 persons involved in the 1979 coup in which 10 people, including then Prime Minister Maurice Bishop and other members of his cabinet, were summarily executed by the People's Revolutionary Army, of which Lane was the operational commander. He obtained an LLB and LLM from London University while in prison and was awarded the Legal Education Certificate of Merit from the Hugh Wooden Law School of the University of the West Indies in 2013, 4 years after his release. But when his application for admission to the bar went before the High Court, the judge ruled that an applicant with Lane's background had to make an extraordinary showing of rehabilitation and present good moral character, and he refused Lane's request. The Court of Appeal subsequently upheld that decision. Guyana's Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan has thrown out private criminal charges filed against the chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, and 3 government-nominated commissioners. She says the charges alleging that they had breached the Constitution were frivolous, a waste of the court's time, and an abuse of the court. Now, the charges had been filed by local engineer Marcel Gaskin, who claimed that the GECOM chairman and 3 commissioners conspired not to hold elections within 90 days following the passage of the no-confidence motion against the coalition government on December 21st last year. Now, only the GECOM chairman and Commissioner Desmond Trotman appeared in court, and the Chief Magistrate did not even bother to read out the charges. After hearing from both sides, she said the matters could not stand in the court, and she therefore threw out the charges. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has given Trinidad and Tobago $1.6 million to assist Venezuelans there who have fled hardship in their homeland. Now, representatives from USAID, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, the U.S. Embassy, Trinidadian and Venezuelan civil society met in Port of Spain last week to determine how the U.S. can help the Twin Island Republic manage the impacts of the political and humanitarian crisis in Venezuela. It was decided that Programs using the $1.6 million will begin by September and will focus on strengthening community resilience and capacity to address the recent influx of Venezuelan refugees and migrants. Jamaica is moving to establish a domestic airline. Transport Minister Robert Montague says discussions are underway with 3 investment groups in that regard. He says he's leading the effort to having an airline up and running as soon as possible. Montague made the disclosure at the final in a series of consultations for the crafting of a new national transport policy which will cover air, water, road and railway transport and infrastructure and services. Stay with us. Your Midday Sport is next. Former legendary West Indies captain Sir Vivian Richards has endorsed Ricky Skerritt and his running mate Dr. Kishore Swallow in their bid to become the West Indies' new president and vice president respectively. Now last month, Skerritt announced his intention to challenge current CWI President Dave Cameron in the elections slated for March 24 in Jamaica. In a press statement, Sir Viv, who is widely regarded as one of the best captains and batsmen West Indies has ever had, threw his support behind Skerritt and the vice presidential candidate. He said, quote, "This is an excellent opportunity for me to have an input as a past West Indies captain and also from the representation that Leewards would have given to West Indies cricket. If we are now looking to make a choice for a new president, I also believe we have people in that particular department in Mr. Ricky Skerritt who could bring some respectability back to the particular position. I honestly believe the time is right now for someone like Mr. Skerritt, who I think is respected in that particular fraternity, to help make a difference in the future," end quote. Now, Sir Viv said it was important for past West Indies players to speak up, especially on pertinent issues such as elections. In response, Skerritt said he was honored to have someone of Sir Viv's ilk support his presidential bid. Still in cricket, Barbados captain Hayley Matthews produced a masterful bowling display in the opening round of the Women's Regional Super 50 Championships to help her side crush the Leeward Islands by 7 wickets. Now, Matthews grabbed 7 wickets for just 27 runs as the Leewards were bundled out for just 88 runs. Barbados then romped to 89 for 3 in 12 overs, with Deandra Dottin smashing an unbeaten 34 from 12 balls. Barbados wasted little time in chasing down the total, with Matthews also contributing with the bat in a brisk knock of 23. Meanwhile, Trinidad and Tobago produced a strong batting effort to reach 221 for 7 in their 50 overs, thanks mainly to an unbeaten half-century from Renice Boyce. She finished on 65 not out and got support from Samantha Bissoon, who was unbeaten on 35. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.